Well, hello. Welcome back to another episode of The Power of Your Story. And I am LaQuita Parks, your host. And I am the CEO and founder of T.R.I.V.I.A Publishing. And T.R.I.V.I.A is Pain, Progress, Victory, because I believe without pain, there's no progress. And without progress, there can be no victory. So I help people take their stories from a thought to a realization. And you know what? As we get into this new year, you guys have heard it from me several times. This is 2023, and 2023 is for me. If y'all not saying 2023 is for me, you are certainly missing out on an opportunity to do something that you've never done. I am super excited today because I have a good friend here in the studio with me, Mr. Willie C. Harrison. Willie and I go way back. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Willie
yes,
is
yes.
one of the first, one of the first people to trust the process. Trust the
No,
process
yes.
and let me help him take his story from a thought to a realization. But Willie's story is a little different from everybody else's. You know, Willie used to tell the secret. He used to tell our secret, y'all. He used to tell people that I helped him take his story from a thought to a realization in 2 weeks. I had to tell Willie to quit
Yeah.
telling that story.
It
Every
was fast.
time Willie
It
was
was
like, she did
fast.
this for me, y'all, in 2 weeks. I was like, quit telling
Yeah.
people that. I can do that,
Woo,
but it's not ideal. I
man.
don't like that because it's a lot of rushing. It's a lot of putting other things on hold. But I did that because of how we met and what happened to him. And we'll get into that in a minute. But Willie, how are you, my friend?
I'm wonderful, man. It's awesome. It's a great opportunity to be here, be live, and to be able to come back in contact with you once again. It's just a pleasure to be here today.
You
Thank
know
you.
what? What's the favorite thing I like you say? How you doing, Willie?
I'm wonderful every day in every way.
Every
That's
day in every
mine.
way. I love that. That was my favorite thing to hear when I would get those phone calls and when I would call Willie. How you doing, Willie? Oh, I'm doing good every day in every way. Love the energy. Love the
Yes,
energy.
yes.
So how is your 2022 coming along? I mean, I'm sorry, 2023.
What?
We're not going backwards. We're not going backwards, okay? My tongue is a little tired, y'all, because this has been the day is Thursday and this has been a week. And I'll share some things that's been going on with me this week too. But it's 2023. 2023. So how's your 2023 going so far, Willie?
Man, my 2023 started off awesome. I just came back off of we just came off of vacation, well, family vacation, me and my wife, and from Mobile, Alabama. We just enjoyed family during that year. But most of all, and then we came back. I went to my cousin's house, and my sister, my older sister, what she did is started a vision board party, which is very beautiful. Vision board party this year. And a lot of family members and friends came over. We all sat there. Everybody did their own vision board and talk about how their year they wanted to be this year.
Mm.
And with me, I said, I really want to start my year off with really first is getting myself focused on what I need to be done to get where I'm trying to go. And that's what we all forget about ourselves. We don't plan. And it's vitally important to plan. And I always have to say and tell people this. And they ask me, why you gotta plan stuff, write stuff down? I said, I'm gonna tell you why it's so important to write things down very quickly. When you riding on the highway, say, because I'm from Atlanta, you riding on the highway, you're going to see what? Signs,
Mm-hmm.
billboard. You're going to see these things, right? Why are
Right.
these things being presented in your face every day when you're riding? Because it's letting you know where you need to go. It's
Mm-hmm.
just like writing stuff down on a piece of paper. Every day you look at it, okay, this is direction that I need to go every day. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's how I started my year off, writing stuff down and say, you know what? And then executing everything that I wrote down, which I have done so far, and thank God that some of the things is being manifested right now.
Okay. Look, the Bible says write the vision, make it plain, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Write the vision,
Hmm.
make it plain. So, Willie, go
Beautiful.
ahead and introduce our audience. Tell us who you are. Give us a little bit of information about you.
Well, as we see, as I know, my name is Willis C. Harrison Jr. I am a junior. My dad is a senior. I'm from I'm I'm from Donaldsonville, Georgia, but was raised in Atlanta, Georgia. I have been living in Atlanta, Georgia, practically probably all my life, and I'm from a single parent, three siblings, and we all had our trials and obstacles in life. We all branched off and went our own way as we got older. As far as in myself, at the age of 14, I felt like that I was feeling myself. Put it like that. I was feeling
And
myself,
we do.
and
We do.
yeah, yeah, at 14, and I was a little hard headed at 14, and I ran away from home, and I started living in what's considered East Lake Meadow housing project in Atlanta, Georgia, which end up, led me hanging in the streets, dropping out of school at a very young age, and it was like it was a springboard of chaos in my life because I felt like there was no parental guidance that I felt and think that it was none. But as life went on, when I became 17 years old, was landed me in prison. That landed me in prison, and my life took another type of turn. And so with that, my life was short as far as in from 14 to 17.
Mhm.
It was short living in in society, but majority of my life was mainly incarcerated. And we'll talk about that a little later on,
Yes,
in
yes.
our story.
Yes. So let me tell y'all how Willie and I met. So, of course, you guys know I'm a publisher. And this was back in December, well, November of 2020. I'm fresh out of Pay Pro V Publishing, just launched Pay Pro V Publishing in August of 2020. And I get tagged in a post that this man was upset that some publisher, don't know who it is, I don't even need to know, but some
No.
publisher had taken his manuscript, taken his money, and he was like, somebody need to help me. I just want somebody
Yeah.
who not gonna lie to me to tell me the truth about my book. So he was upset. So somebody tagged me in the post, and I reached out and I said, I'm a publisher. So he sent me a message and said, I just need somebody to tell me the truth. So we talked. I said, well, send me your manuscript. He was hot, y'all. I mean, he was hot.
Yes, I
At one
was. I
point, I had
was.
to say, I'm sorry, Mr. Harris, Willie. I didn't do it. I wasn't the one that did it. But let me see if I can help you. So he
But I
he
blamed you though. I
yes, he
even
did.
blamed you.
He
I was
did.
fussing
He
with
did.
you.
He
I
was. He
blamed you.
didn't even
Yep.
know me from
Yep.
a can of paint, y'all.
Yep.
But
I was
he was
blaming
hot
you.
as a tamale. He was like, look. He didn't want to hear it. He was like, okay, here goes some other woman gonna tell me, so I'm gonna take my money. How much is it gonna cost me? How much is this gonna cost me?
Exactly. Yep.
I said, well,
Exactly.
I tell you what. I said, let me read your manuscript and I'll get back with you. I stopped everything. Now, I didn't know him from a can of paint either. I
Exactly.
stopped everything. And the funny part was the person who tagged me, I didn't even know that person either. I think I had one conversation with that person. And I said, I told Willie, I said, let me read your manuscript. I said, send me your manuscript, but I said, do not send it to me in a Word document. Send it to me in a PDF. Because I wanted to make sure that he could trust me because he had no reason to, and he had already been burned. So when he sent it, I
Yes.
stopped everything I was doing. I was in the middle of publishing some other people's projects, but I
Yep. Sure
stopped it.
was.
I stopped everything I was doing and I
Yep.
read his manuscript all at that point, all 99 pages of it. And within, within like a couple of hours, so I sent him a message back. He said, all I want to know is it ready to be published? And I said,
Yeah.
no, it's not ready to be published. I said, what happened? And the editing, so whoever the editor was or whoever the publisher was, they did my brother a disservice, y'all.
Yeah.
They didn't
They
do it
did.
right.
They
So
did.
I said, okay, this is what I can do. So I gave it. I talked to Willie and his wife, which I had great respect for that because bring your wife, bring your spouse in. And so I said, okay, you know what? This is what I can do. And Willie was like, no, this was I'm supposed to have this book out at the beginning of the year, and such and such and so and so and so. And I
No,
said, this is I can't speak for anybody else. I said, this is what I can do. I said, and I said, it's okay. It doesn't have to be me. It does not have to be me. I said, but whoever you go to, make sure that they give you what you're wanting, and that it's your story and not their story. So
Hmm.
you guys were getting ready to go on vacation, I think for Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so they called me back and said, okay, we're gonna go with you. I had my publisher, my Kimberly, my editor in
Kimberly, yep,
chief.
yep,
I
Kimberly.
called her and I said, listen, I have a project. It's a rush project. And she was like, what now? Now, Willie, I don't know if you knew this, but I had to beg her. So my sister Kimberly is my editor in chief. I had to beg her before you came along to be my editor, to help me out. She has a degree in language arts with a concentration in journalism. And
Wow.
she did editing as a hobby. And I called her and I was like, I need your help. And she was like, for what? And I was like, I need an editor. Can you help me? She was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be bothered with that. And I was like, please. I had to beg her to help me because I knew she was qualified, and
Hmm.
she had the skill set, and she had the credentials. So she said yes. And so when I sent her your book, she said, what the she was like, who is wait a minute. And she was like, wait, did you tell me that somebody had already been editing this? And I said,
Yeah,
yes. She's like, no, they didn't. She said they just and her words were, they just took his money.
that's
They just
it.
took his money.
Yep.
So Kimberly Parks went through and edited the book. And so when I read the book, I'm very honest. I try to be very honest and very transparent with everybody
Uh-oh, here it
that I work
come.
with.
Here it come.
And there's a now this is the book, y'all. And see,
Oh,
this is the proof, y'all. This is the proof. So when I read the book before it got edited, there's language, and I don't do a lot of language. And so I said that I told that to Willie, and I said, it's your story. It's not my story, but I have to be honest with you. It's gonna lose people because of the language. And so we talked about it, and that's the one thing I love about Willie. He listened and then come back with, well, what can we do for this? So he listened and he said, I do want my mama, my grandma, I want people to be able to read
yeah.
this. What can
Yep.
we do? Is there a way you can tone it down? And because of the nature of the story, it was no way to tone it down. But I said, when you go and present the story, and you have to make sure, this is when your audience, knowing who your audience is, you also have to say, this is not who I am. This is who I was. Not
Exactly.
the same person in this book. So listen, this book has been it's an amazing story. It is an amazing story. And Willie, I know I've said this before, but it's been a long time since we've interviewed together. But I want
Yeah.
to thank you again for trusting me,
Yeah.
trusting the process, and letting us help you take your story from a thought to a realization. Y'all, we got this book finished in 2 weeks.
For
2 weeks.
real.
When
For
I
real.
2 weeks, when I
2 weeks.
met Willie and his wife to give him the proof, I saw tears run down this man's face
Man,
because
I was too happy.
somebody told him he was supposed to have this book out a whole year before I got it out in 2 weeks. So listen, if you're listening to the sound of my voice, and I know that you are, when you are dealing with people, make sure that you are getting what you want, getting the what you need. And listen, if a publisher is going to take a year, make sure that make sure that you're aware, and it's that type of project. And I know for me, as I get more clients, sometimes the timeline does span out, but not a year. And the problem with
Yeah.
his book was that, and Willie was like, every time who the person, I don't know who it was, would say there was a problem, they would want more money. That should never
Yes.
happen. That should
Yep.
never happen. I have
Every
never
time.
asked anybody for another dime after I gave them a price, because if it's something that comes up, if it's something else that we do that we haven't agreed to, then that's a different thing. But if it's a package, make sure that when you talk to people, and I know I can't publish everybody's story, because Will, ain't everybody's cup of tea,
You're
and
right.
everybody ain't my cup of tea. So,
Yeah, that's
if,
true.
if
That's
it's,
true.
but I like to let people know. And if I'm not the person, I'm okay with that. I still say,
Hmm.
get your story out. So let's dive into the
Yeah.
story. Let's
Yes.
dive into the story. So
Uh-oh.
Willie.
Oh,
So Willie, you already started to set the scene. And if you listen, guys, if you have not purchased this book, reach out to Willie. You can purchase the book directly from him. Let him get
yeah.
all his money. Okay. We love Amazon. We absolutely love Amazon. But
Hmm.
Amazon take 40% of the profits because they're a business. You know what I'm saying? So
Exactly.
purchase the book directly from Willie. And if you can't
Please.
reach him, you can reach me, and I'll make sure that he gets 100% of his sales. Okay, because
Exactly.
we believe in that.
And I
So,
trust her. 100%.
yes, thank you so much, Willie.
100. I trust
Listen,
and love this woman.
yes, thank you. And I love you too,
Yeah.
Willie. Willie, I tell you, we had to get through that first 2 weeks, honey, because Willie was
I
giving it
know,
to
right?
me. And you know what? And here's the thing: I did it because I don't like when people are mistreated. I don't like when people are treated unfairly. And I'm seeing Willie since I published with you. So it's been 2 years now since
Uh-huh.
your book came out. And since I published with you, I heard so many stories where people have gotten books published and they were not edited, or
Mm-hmm.
when that some they took their money, they never got a book. I've read
Yep.
a book recently. I purchased this book because I heard this woman speaking. And when I got the book, I was disappointed. Her story was amazing, but the book was not. And I went back and forth whether I should give feedback or not, because some people are not open to feedback. And because I'm a publisher, sometimes I've been in rooms on Clubhouse where there have been publishers that one in particular came into a room and started kind of tearing down people's books, trying to say something was wrong with it just so that he could redo the book. That's not me. So when I gave the feedback, I said, I'm not saying this for me because I'm not advocating that I be the one, but I do suggest that you have somebody else to read your book, to go through, mark the edits, and then resubmit your manuscript and update your manuscript, because her story was amazing, just like your story. And I was like, it needs to be pitched to the Tyler Perrys of the world. But the worst
Mm.
thing you want to do is to hand your book over to somebody to read and they can't get past all the errors. Now, we are human beings.
Whew.
We're human
Yeah.
beings, so we are flawed individuals. But when you
Mm-hmm.
got errors on every page and the formatting, it is just isn't right. It isn't right. So let's dive
Exactly.
into it. Let's get into it.
Yeah.
They gave him life from an ex-con to an icon. Look, this is a movie star. Y'all, did y'all know that? Y'all didn't know
Oh,
Y'all
wow.
didn't know
Yeah.
Willie was a movie star. Did y'all know it? What's some of the movies you played? You played on a movie with Denzel Washington, didn't you, my brother?
I was in my first one was Denzel Washington, The Flight. And you can see if you watch The Flight, you'll see me when Denzel Washington was in the Alcohol Anonymous class. I'm in that class with a brown outfit on. I was in I was in Ride Along Tour with Kevin Hart and Ice Cube. Number two. I was in a movie called Watson Goes to Birmingham. I was in Constantine. I was in Vampire Diary, which they just now really showing. Somebody just hit me up and said, "Man, you on TV?" And I was like, "Wow, okay then, man." So I pulled it up, and there it is. And my main feature theme was I was in the show with Iyanla Vanzant, Fix My Life in 2000, I think 17 or 18. I can't really think of right now, but I can see I can put the link in the chat and let
Yes.
y'all go online and look at it. And because reason being, I was in all these shows because when I came home from incarceration, it was hard for me to get a job. And being that the movie industry doesn't discriminate of where you've been as far as an incarceration,
Mhm.
so that allowed me through my wife was putting. She said, "You want to go on these shows? Well, I can plug you in." So I said, "Why not?" So there you go. I started being in these
It's
shows.
nice to have people with connections.
Exactly.
It's nice to have people with connections. So let's
Hmm.
talk about they gave him life. So Willie, what how did you end up incarcerated?
Hmm. I ended up incarcerated when I was 17 years old, and it's going to sound kind of because a lot of people don't like talking about their habits, you
Mhm.
know. But to me, I felt like if you've been through something, if you've been through something that somebody else seen, why be ashamed to tell it?
That's right.
So I'm not ashamed to tell what I've been through because other people knew where I've been. Because
Hmm.
you always gonna be around somebody that know where you actually been and what you
Hmm.
went through.
I
When
remember
I
him
was
when. Yeah.
exactly, so when I was 14, like I said before, I ran away from home, started living in the project, started living in the streets. I ended up on crack cocaine, and crack cocaine, heavy drinking, which also led me to end up getting into it with my best friend. And one thing led to another. I ended up pulling out a gun and shooting him. And going through the court process, I felt guilty, really. I felt guilty about the fact that what I've done. So I felt like I needed to do what needed to be done to even get past what I did. And so I pled guilty to life plus 20 years incarceration. And and at that time, the judge, even with this, the judge, being that I was that young, 17 years old, didn't agree with it. They didn't agree with it because I didn't reflect back on it until I went back into my cell in the Cobb County Jail in Atlanta, Georgia. And but the judge was like, I thought the police said it was like 20 years. So where did this life in 20 come from? But she actually brushed it off and I pled guilty. And that moment, you know, I thought about it, I felt as if, and it sounds crazy. I know people are like, man, is you crazy? But this might sound crazy, but I felt as if I'm doing the right thing to give my life to this system,
Hmm.
for what I've done, you know. And so by me doing that at the time, I said, okay, I felt okay. But the DA, the judge, they said, you know what? You'll be out in 3 years on good behavior. I'm like, okay, I think I can handle the 3 years in prison. I can do that. And after that, man, going through that prison system, man, it was chaos. So with that being said, that moment, that what led me to being incarceration. And being incarcerated for an X amount of time, for 21 years, man, was was uh, a great experience.
Hmm.
A great experience. I don't regret it. I don't regret being incarcerated. I truly believe that God put us in position to even to get us better or to let us see where we need to go. And
Hmm.
that's just life, And I felt like prison was my only resource to be rehabilitated.
You
A lot
know,
of people go to,
I was going to say, I'm sorry. I know you said that to me before, that going to prison saved your life.
yeah.
You know,
Hmm.
and there are some people who said, I think I know who this person is. For My Destiny Community Arts Center says, God bless you, Willie. Wonder who that is. I think I know
Yeah,
who
I know
that
that
person
is.
is.
That's
I
right. That's
know.
it.
I
Absolutely
think
right
I
back.
know who that is, Miss Michelle Harrison. That's
Yes,
the right.
yes.
Hey, my
That's
friend.
the
All
right.
right. Okay. That's and having that support system. But you said that before. I've heard you say that
Yeah,
several times. And
yeah.
we've been on several different interviews and I've heard you say going to prison saved your life. And you're right. It doesn't sound crazy to me, but I know I've talked to people who are like, you know what, it was crazy, it was chaos. And it's funny, Willie, because I'm working with two other. Well, I just published a book for a guy called Liberty City, and he served 30 years
Mm.
in prison. And I
Ooh.
talked to another guy. I'm working with another guy. He served 30 years in prison. And he was a part of some, he was with somebody who, two people got shot, one died, and he received the same time, even though he was found guilty of not having anything, to not committing the murder.
Mm-hmm.
He got the same time that they did, because he was guilty by association. So he served
Mm.
30 years. And so I think that's amazing. So what happened? What has life been like? So how long has it been since you've been out?
I've been out now this year, made 13 years.
All right.
And I can't say this. And then, like I was telling, what her name? Trivia? I was just
Trivia.
telling, maybe we was talking earlier. And I was telling her, about the fact that, being out, or what I went through, or not, but and about inspiring people. This is the most vital information, and I think this is an access, and I have to use this because I'm in the business now, and you have to learn certain terms, and not in terms of words, but the greatest access that I believe, as far as in learning things now, as far as in inspiring people, is the greatest thing that we should be doing today. I met her saying, she said, you can inspire, you can encourage, and you can motivate. My thing is inspiring people. And what I'm about to say, and I pray and hope that this very message inspire everyone. When I got out of prison, was the most devastating. The first day, that first week was the most devastating week of my life. I
Hmm.
wanted to go back to prison because of where I was living. I felt like I was better off in prison. But thank God for my wife. My wife allowed me, to come stay with her because she knew what I was going through at that time. And right then, my wife started helping me. She started helping me know how to, because the world was a culture shock. I didn't know how to use no debit card. I didn't know how to use no computer. I didn't know how to really communicate with people, be around, people like in society. I mean, because I felt uncomfortable because being incarcerated and being in such a that microcosm, that world, that's all you knew for those amount of years, of 21 years. But throughout my years, I felt okay. I said, okay, she helping me. So I said, okay, this is, it's motivating. When she doing something, I'm trying to do something. She doing something. So I got my first job. Got a job. Man, okay, man, I felt good about myself. In fact, I'm doing something good. And so they get my job. I'm Mr. Harrison. Can you come to the office? Yeah, what's up, man? What's going on? Man, you a great worker, man, but your background came back.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, man.
Well, it's all right. It's all right because there's somebody that's listening that needs to hear this. Take your time. Somebody needs to hear this, Willie. Somebody needs to hear it. It's all right.
You gotta excuse me. Sometimes,
You're all right. It's okay. I trust me. I understand. That's why this show is called The Power of Your Story.
I
This
done
is the
had over
power of your story.
75 jobs in 10 years.
Wow.
75 jobs. Not because of my behavior, not because of me being late. You know, um, sometimes, I sit back and I think about, man, I struggle with a lot of things as far as in, it's a dilemma, man. I hate I went to prison. But then sometimes I say, man, I'm glad I went to prison because I wouldn't be where I'm at. I struggle with it a lot because it's like, man, it's so hard for people to understand knowing that you're trying so hard. You're trying so hard. And you have to have someone, you have to have a support. You got to have a support. And the only support I have is my wife. That's the only support, man. My wife didn't even know me from nothing. Gave me her debit card the first week. Who does that?
Mhm. Mhm.
I could have ran out with her credit card. So it's like, 75 jobs, man, probably more than that, throughout the let down. But I cry. I'm crying now, not for disappointment, but for the greatest blessing in the world. And why I say that is to say this. If people are listening, I had 75 or more jobs. Listen to what I'm saying. From 1 to 75, in between was nothing but the word of faith. I didn't give up. I didn't give up, you know, and that's what's so important and so strong about me because I just truly believe that I can't give up because of the people that I'm involved in. I'm surrounded with. I'm surrounded by positive people. My wife, my mom, my sisters, my immediate family, people like LaQuita, for people like you and Anthony, who's my life coach. Anthony, people like that, inspire me. Anthony, every day, man, man, hey man, keep going. Do this, and this is what got me where I'm at today, man. And I'm continuing to moving forward. I can't look back. I can't let what I've been through hold me to get me where I'm trying to go. So
You
mm,
know, Willie, I so appreciate you, and I appreciate everything that you've gone through. I appreciate your honesty, because you're right. There are so many people who won't talk about what they've been through. There are so
yeah,
many people who, I've been through it, I'm not going to talk about it. And they keep it
mm,
quiet. But my thing is, there's somebody waiting on the other side of your story so they can get healing from their story, and we have to keep
mm,
telling our stories. This week, a press release went out on me, and for the first time, I named the hospital, Grady Memorial Hospital, that messed up my leg when I was a child. And I've been
mm-hmm,
going through that every day, pain every single day. So the struggles are different. Your struggle is your struggle. I cannot imagine 75 jobs in 10 years. That doesn't even make logical sense,
yeah,
because of a past that you've already paid for. You know,
exactly.
you did
Mm-hmm.
the time, and you're right. You're a good person. I've known you to be ever since you blessed me out about this book. Has been I've hey y'all, hey now. Ever since I had to tell Willie, look now, sir. Yeah, I didn't do it. Okay, so what we
No,
not
no, you
going to
gotta
do?
tell the truth.
Tell
Willie, you
him,
need to
Willie,
calm
what I
down.
say.
You need to calm down. You need to calm
Yes,
down. Cause no, hold up. Cause you ain't gonna be calling me every day talking about this. And you know what I did? I need you. I humbled down. Cause
yes,
you was right. And you was right. Cause you was like,
yes.
no, you ain't gonna keep doing this to me. Cause I
Right. I
didn't
was
do
like,
it.
okay, right. I was like, Willie, what I'm gonna need you to do is calm down, because we're not getting ready to go through this.
Yep.
I'm
Exactly.
helping you, but we are not getting ready to go through this, sir. This not what we finna do. As the kids say, this not what you want.
Exactly.
This ain't
So
what you
what,
want.
boy?
Okay. Don't let the smooth taste fool you. But
Thank God.
but
Praise God.
I love tell us about, and when I read the book and walk through the journey, it was educational for me, because I learned what you went through. And you said it before when we first started. Remember when we talked about it, we talk about the books, and I
Hmm.
used to say, where I was like, where were your parents? I was like, where were
Yeah.
your parents? And you know what? And sometimes, children, if you're listening to me, young people, sometimes we feel ourselves. We get grown and we want to go on. We think that
Hmm.
parents don't know nothing. So we gonna go on ahead, and everything isn't what it seemed like. I have back here on this wall, I have these it's not a smooth wall. And I used to tell my children, you feel the grooves, you see the
Yep.
bumps and the cracks in the pavement. That's
Uh-huh.
because somebody else has already hit their head on it. You don't have to. But but as young
Yeah.
people,
Beautiful.
we're curious to see, well, what is it gonna feel like if I hit my head on the pavement? you know
Exactly.
so
Yep.
I like that you said, what, I was hard-headed and went on and did my own thing, ran away from home, and it wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't what I wanted in the street. So when you got out, how were things now? Because I understand, with the when you got out, and all of the jobs you found, that the movie industry, they don't discriminate. They don't care whether you have a record. They don't care
Hmm.
about that. What they care about is getting the right faces and the right people to make this movie make a lot of money. So
And
that's what
so
they
let me
care
say,
about.
so when I was going through that, it was exciting. I ain't gonna lie, it was very exciting. I'm sitting in there. They telling me, hey, all right, now you need to go in. Your scene coming up, whatnot. So they're telling me this and that. So one day, me and Michelle, we was going to Mobile, Alabama, and we thinking about people that might come home from incarceration being in the same situation that I've been. So we was like, what can we do to stop that? How can we help someone to have a voice to be able to share their story? So we started thinking, we made her ride, we just ride brainstorming. Came up with ex-cons of Atlanta. What are they doing now? I own a production company that called ex-cons of Atlanta. What are they doing now? And I don't filmed over probably about 40 some people already sharing their story. And the reason being is because people need to hear the real true story in life of people being incarcerated, male and female.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because a lot of
Hmm.
times we forget about our sisters that have been incarcerated.
Hmm.
We totally forget about them. When I came home, my wife is a living proof who have never ever dealt with anybody been incarcerated, only but me, ever in her life. And it was like it was mind blowing. It was shocking to her to see what I went through, and she couldn't believe it. And
Hmm.
so and so my company, in which I'm really starting up this year, really really heavy, is about sharing someone's story. But let me tell you why that mine is so unique and different from anybody else's story, and it's already been in. I can say this now because I
Okay.
own it.
Okay.
I own this. No,
Own it.
I can tell it. Yeah, I own this, like my book. so, so what we film is we want to talk about people of who they were before what they did to go where they been.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly speaking, as far as in, what was your dream? What was your goal when you was growing up? What you want to be?
Mm-hmm.
We got a person on there wanted to be a lawyer, wanted to be a doctor. One guy wanted to be a police officer. So
Mm-hmm.
what I did, I connected with these settings as far as in the
Mm-hmm.
hospital. We filmed them in the hospital. We filmed them in the hospital as if they was a doctor already. But
Okay.
you won't even know that they've been incarcerated. So
Okay.
they going walking through the hospital with their gown on and talking to them, implementing with, interacting with people and whatnot. But then we come back, they're gonna cut. Okay, now what led you to do what you done and go where you been?
Mm-hmm.
What led you? What
What
from
happened?
you being, yeah, for you want to be a police officer, and then from a police officer to a life of crime. What happened?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, then we talk about, because the thing is, ex-cons of Atlanta, what are they doing now? Now
Mm-hmm.
we're talking about what are you doing now? What changes are you think that you can make to make our society a better place to live for
Mm-hmm.
everybody that you're involved in?
Mm-hmm.
That's what my show is about. That's what we filming. That's how we filming, and that's how we implementing. And prayerfully that we'll be able to put it on a lot of different broadcast shows real soon this year. People that are already on film. We still putting stuff together and just presenting it, because I think it's vitally important that people see and understand um, people like they've been incarcerated. Everybody that came if it's incarcerated is not bad.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's not bad incarcerated. They're not. I don't admit it. I don't admit. Man, you'd be surprised. You'd be admit. The most smartest person in prison, the most brilliant, the most beautiful character, and you wonder why. Man, what the hell you doing here?
Mm-hmm.
What happened?
Mm-hmm.
What transpired? And that's what made me say, or come up with the idea of who was the person before they done what they did to
Mm-hmm.
go where they been.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I do now. I film people. I film your life story. And I've been blessed with a lot of filming equipment. Thank God for that. and this is my job now. My job is what God have blessed me for to be home for, to help people that's coming home. And right now, and not take too much time, and I'm dealing with a guy, me and Michelle. He been in 53 years right now. 53 years. They gave him another year last week. He is so devastated, you know. And I've been knowing this man for about 20 years. He been in 53 years. My wife doesn't even present his story to the movie industry already. He wrote my wife. My wife done put it out there, done put a story out there. His case is very political. It's extremely political. And I can't present it, but
Right.
but he been in 53 years, man. And when he come home, LaQuita, I'm telling you, I'm bringing him straight to you. And
Yes.
because you're gonna be mind blown with the story that he has to tell. So,
Wow.
and these are the people that really want to come out to make a difference, who
Mm-hmm.
want to tell that story, who want to share that story. And I want to be able to present them from going through 75 or better jobs,
Mm.
you know, or more.
So Willie, oh, you have blown my mind, man. I think
Hmm.
that is I think it's amazing. What stopped you? Because you hear stories of all the time, especially of career criminals, people
Hmm.
who have been incarcerated for a long period of time. They
Hmm.
come home, and it's almost the expectation that they're going to end up back in jail or back in prison.
Let
What
me
what was the thing for you that said, okay, you know what, let me keep this fight going with all of the adversities, with all of the having to change jobs, with being not being able to do things simply because of your background? What kept you from saying, I'm not going back there?
mainly my family. My number one is my family. My family. I gotta say my family because my older sister, she been there for me. I mean, for a bit, for a long time while I was incarcerated. And my older sister, you know how you got an older brother and he always getting on you. You got, your older siblings always gonna get on you. I don't care what you say, they gonna be
Yeah, I
snapping
know.
on you. Man, my older sister, man, she was snapping on me. Even now home, my older sister, and it's like she can cuss me out, and I'd be like, okay, you're right, you're right. I mean, you're right. I can't refuse because she's right.
Hmm.
And then when I married my wife, my wife was like, because I'm gonna be honest with you, I have to, I'm writing I'm writing something on this now about PTSD, post traumatic stress disorder, because that is like, man, it's serious. It's very, very serious. But we only look at PTSD as far as in the military perspective. But I'm gonna do a show on the military and prison because PTSD is for prisoners extremely. I think we are affected with that as well. And but if you have support in people that's in your corner, they can actually guide you. Your guy, they can guide you and help you to stir you back. And because I do sidetrack, I ain't gonna lie. I know someday I'd be like, damn, am I home? I only
Hmm.
been home 13 years. I mean,
Hmm.
12 years really. And it's like yesterday,
Hmm.
after doing 21 years, it's like, am I really home? Man. So, man, I can't go back. And then, so coming out, I mean, being here home and my family, but then I started seeing the lifestyle of things I never had,
Hmm.
you know, like I said, you know what, man, I'm going to make it. I started feeding my mind saying, I'm gonna make it. I'm
Hmm.
gonna do it. I'm not
Hmm.
gonna give up. I'm not gonna give up because, I got people, depending on me. Cause you do, you know, you got family depending on you. You got friends depending on you, man. To not get, you got brothers and sisters in prison that I know is depending on me not to give up, to motivate them when they come home to
Hmm.
continue to strive, to
Hmm.
do better. They
Hmm.
call me right now, man. Man, I'm so proud of you, Willie, man. I'm so proud of you, man. But what if I gave up? and went back. Do you know what that would done to people because
Yeah.
of the respect that I had in prison? My name right now is so big in all this in the Georgia State Penitentiary. They call me Lil Willie because I was the most treacherous, the meanest person you probably ever meet when I was in prison. And I built up a reputation, you know. But and right now people are like, man, Willie, man. And now a lot of us are home. And a lot of us is like still depending on Willie, you
Mhm,
know.
mhm,
So this is
mhm,
what
mhm.
helped me, you know. This is what motivates me, man. I can't give up. I can't stop now, you know. Even though sometimes I do feel like I, man. I'm tell you something. I'm gonna tell you something. I mean, I'm gonna hold my tears, but I'm just be honest with you, man. I know that when I've been around a lot of people that have never been incarcerated and heard their story, I'm like, wow, man. A lot of y'all are just giving up. I'm like, I mean,
Yeah.
but you ain't been nowhere. You know, it's like you ain't done nothing. You know, live life, man. And
Mhm,
that's what
mhm.
give me the motivation to live life. And the number one thing, too, I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie. I say this every day, man. I want to be rich. I want to be wealthy. I ain't gonna lie. I
Say,
want to
look,
know
we
what
want
it
to see what life is like on that side of on that side of the
exactly.
fence. We
You
know
know,
what it feel like on this side. We want. Hey, I can high five you right now.
that's right. That's right,
We want to
man.
see what it. We want to see what the other half live like. You know. You know. Willie, listen, tell everybody how they
Hmm.
can get in touch with you. If there's somebody listening, and I see your email address is scrolling at the bottom, um,
Uh-huh.
if and your phone number, that's a good thing.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
we didn't go into a whole lot of details about the book because guess what? You have to get the book, buy the book,
So do. You
by
gotta
the
get it.
book. They gave him life. It is an amazing, amazing story. It's his
Hmm.
true story. And you know what? I am so very proud of you. I'm so proud of
Thank you
where
very
you
much.
come from. I'm so
Thank you.
proud of where you are. And I am absolutely proud of where you're going because I believe you when you say you're going to make it because I feel that. I feel that you are
Hmm.
going to make it. And you know what? God's grace and mercy can't nothing beat it. Can't
Exactly.
nothing beat
Ain't
it.
nothing beat it.
Nothing beat it.
Nothing
So
beat it, man.
so Willie, so what
Hmm.
what other projects are you working on? What's what
Right.
what's next for Willie? Writing. We got another book coming soon, huh?
Okay, we got another book coming out. I'm gonna tell you the title. You can have it because I already got it published. The title is "Don't Pull the Trigger." Don't pull the trigger. You know, and what why I came up with this is a lot of times, you know, there's so much going on in society as far as in people on jobs now. There's a lot of um, um, violence going on in jobs. And as far as in Walmart and Burger King, you see people fighting, people going back killing the manager, you
Mhm,
know, but you
mhm,
cannot let them people pull your trigger. And pulling the trigger is what led me to go where I've been, you
mhm,
know,
mhm,
but because no one actually inspired me and told me what I needed to know in order to not let someone else make me pull the trigger on them,
mhm,
you know. And so that's what I'm working on. My second book, I'm typing it up now. You know, don't let nobody pull the trigger. Don't let nobody push your button, as they
mhm,
say. Don't let nobody push your button, man. You know, because you have too much to offer. Everybody in the world is vitally important. Everybody in the world is valuable. Everybody have a life worth of something. God created you to be here for a purpose and a reason. And prayerfully, the book that I'm coming out with now will help you bring out your purpose, you
mhm,
know, and your reasons, and to know not to give up because that's what you're doing. When you pull that trigger, you done gave up. You done gave up on life, man. You done gave. I'm telling you, once you pull that trigger and you get caught, you're gonna realize that I should have never done what I did to be in such a situation. And I'm coming out with a clothing line that's this year, definitely by the grace of God, clothing line. It's an inspirational clothing line. You know, it's gonna have Bible verses, all type of scriptures, all type of, you know, saying. Because when you look at the world today, you see a billboard, you know, and the billboard is exploring what it is that they want you to come and to represent or to have or whatnot, you know. But have people realize that every day you are a walking billboard.
Mm-hmm.
You are a walking billboard. You wear clothes. You wear clothes with the name, with the title, and that's what the main thing that I'm doing is putting it on my shirts, putting it on my hat. Bringing back positivity, bringing back inspiration. So because what if you turn around, you look and see the word Jesus, or you see the word God, or you see Philippians 4:13, or all these type of things. You know what happens? You know what happens? It would strike your conscience.
That's right.
It would strike your conscience to make you not do what you might want to do,
Or what you was
but it
getting ready
also
to do.
getting ready to do. But it
That's right.
also you might be going through something, and a good scripture might come to mind, like, "Wow, you know what I needed? I needed to see that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
needed to really see that." You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Because that's what I need today. I have a friend who did 30 years. He been home, Michael Simon. He been home, I think, probably about 8 years. I'm not exaggerating. Every freaking morning. God forgive me saying that. But every morning, and Michelle can tell you, he texts me inspirational Bible verse
Mm-hmm.
every single day since he's been home. If he missed one day, I had to call him. I said, Mike, are you all right? He said, man, I've been in the hospital. He said, man, I got lupus. I said, oh, man, I didn't know. He said, yeah, I'm all right, man, but I got you in the morning. You see
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? I got
Mm-hmm.
you in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And he sent me a Bible verse. He sent me some inspirational words every morning. That's what we need. This is the things that we need with each other that's doing
Yeah.
great things. We need to inspire. Hey man, how you doing, LaQuita, today? You okay? Once a week. You ain't gotta do it every day, but once a week. Hey man, are you all right? Okay then. Okay, good. I'm all right then. You all right? I'm all right. Let go.
Lift us
All
up.
right
We
now.
need absolutely, absolutely. You know what, Willie? I so appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
There are some people. There's some people who you come in contact with, and it's like the passing wind. And then there are those people
Mm-hmm.
that you come in contact with, and they have that sticking power,
Yep.
that sticking
Exactly.
power, and you navigate to those people. And I'm telling you, you are indeed an inspiration, because listen,
Thank
in
God.
order for you guys to absolutely understand, so you guys have heard him. You've heard him, but to know his story, you have to get this book. When you read this story, you will have 100% more appreciation for
Mm-hmm.
this interview after you read this man's story. Because you know what,
Exactly.
it's amazing, Willie. I don't you don't always have an opportunity to meet people and know their story. And I think that I am blessed. I'm blessed to be in the position that I'm in, because God has gifted me with the ability to be able to talk to people. So I get to read a lot of people's stories. I get to talk to a lot of people about their stories, and I
Mm-hmm.
get to help them take their stories from a thought to a realization. So
Mm-hmm.
I am so very proud of you, and I am looking
Man,
forward
praise
to
God.
Don't Pull the Trigger, because you know what, that can be, that don't pull the trigger can mean don't shoot somebody, don't pull that actual trigger, don't quit on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Don't quit on yourself, because right before you pull the trigger, if you just wait, the breakthrough is on the other side of the bullet.
That's
So
it.
don't
That's
pull the
it.
trigger. I
Yeah.
like that.
Don't pull the
And
trigger.
my friend Michelle, I know you're still listening. We have got to get
Yes.
together. Thank you so much for being such a support to my buddy, Willie C. Harrison Jr.
Yes.
Listen, there are people who are waiting to hear. There are people who are waiting to hear this. Sometimes we get up and we kind of feel blah. We say, okay, I feel good every day in every way, but sometimes there's that weight, and we have to fake it till we feel it.
Yep.
And sometimes we
Mm-hmm.
need a little something.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what it is. It's like, okay, I got up this morning, I did my affirmations, I've read my Bible, I said my prayers, and I'm okay, but I still feel that there's something. It's like, something. And then you get that inspirational message that speaks directly to your heart. And then
Mm-hmm.
you go, this is just what I needed. And then that weight starts to disappear, and you start to grow, and then you're able to be more productive, and you're able to connect with those you need to connect with. That's God.
Exactly.
That's
That's
God, because
God.
God
That's
puts
God.
people in our paths, and we always have the ability to make a difference in the lives of other people. And I am so glad. Listen, if you have a family member, if you yourself has been incarcerated, if you're struggling and you want to tell your story, reach out to Willie C. Harrison. Email him
Please.
at
Yes.
xconsofatlanta@gmail.com. You can reach him at 470-553-7283.
Hmm.
Connect with him. And listen, you have a story, and I know that you do, because 100% of everybody living and dead has a story. There's somebody waiting on the other end of your story. So, no matter where you are in your story writing journey, we can help you take that story from a thought to a realization. You started writing your story and you find yourself stuck, we can help you get unstuck.
That's
If you
right.
have written your story and hey, you like Mr. Willie and you like, hey, you need to let me know if this story is ready to be published, let us know. We can help you publish that story. We make sure that we give you feedback. Is that right? Isn't that right, Willie? We
That's
give you
right.
feedback and let you know what we can do. And listen, we're going to be honest. If we can't publish it, we will let you know that it's not ready. And we will coach you and develop you and let you know what you need to do to get to the point where your story is about to become a reality. So listen, guys, the power of your story. It is such an amazing opportunity to tell your story. And I say this for myself because here I am, 49 years. My life has been filled with pain because I was the victim of medical childhood trauma. And you're going to hear me, if you follow me on any form of social media, you're going to hear me say this in the upcoming weeks. Every day, you're going to hear me say Grady Memorial Hospital. My name is LaQuita Parks because I was the victim. I am the victim of medical childhood trauma at the hands of a nurse when I was 4 years old. I no longer keep silent about the hospital that this happened to me at because they didn't protect me. So I can no longer protect them. So share your story, no matter what that story is, because we go through life, Willie, and you know this is the truth. We go through
Yep.
life and we're trying to figure out why all these things are happening. And sometimes we keep silent with the people who have hurt us. And we
Yep.
can't do that. We can't keep silent with those people who are hurting us. So we have to tell our stories because somebody is waiting on the other end of your story to tell so they can heal from their story. So Willie, whatever you're doing is distracting me. What you doing? You turning you going black? The camera is
I
going
don't
off.
know what that happened.
You gone. Okay, we lost Willie. We lost Willie. So he'll be back. But listen, pick up his story and I want to share. We have 2 minutes.
Oh, there
I
you
want
go.
to share this. It says it was Wednesday, November 8th, 1989. Every morning in East Lake Meadows, as I thought about how I was going to get high, I would walk back and forth and wonder how in the hell I could get some crack cocaine. I would sit in a dark alley for hours, waiting on my chance to trick someone so I could rob them. They Gave Him Life is a story of the redemption of Willie C. Harrison Jr. It is the uncut and unadulterated truth of the circumstances that led to Willie being sentenced to life plus 20 years in prison for murder. This story also offers a firsthand journey on the trials that followed once Willie was released. This is an amazing story, y'all. Y'all have to get the story. So he said it himself. See where he was before, see what happened, see what he did to get what he got that ended up serving 20 years, 21 years in
Mhm.
prison, and see what life has been like for him since he's been out. And then connect with him so you can get the rest of the story. All
Yes,
right.
please.
Well, Willie, thank you so much for being my guest tonight. It has been such a pleasure. It is so good seeing you. You look good. I am so
Praise
happy for
God.
you. I can't wait to see your book, your next book. I can't wait to be viewing some of these documentaries that you're doing.
Oh,
I,
yes.
I am
Yes.
looking forward to it. And listen, you guys, look him up on Ayanna Van Zant, Fix My Life. Just put his name in, put Ayanna's name in, and put Willie C. Harrison's
Oh,
name in.
I was trying to do it. Put Iyanla Vanzant, and he gonna say murderers of men. Iyanla
Murderers
Van,
of Men.
murderers of men. The whole show is gonna pull up.
Okay.
and you will see the whole show on YouTube, and it's very emotional. You know, it was very emotional what I went through because the whole show was basically about me anyway. You know,
Yes.
I did a DNA test on the show to realize, you know, I mean, to come to the conclusion that my son is really what my son. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so man, I mean, the show was very beautiful. You know, it was very helpful. It was very informative. You know, so but it's great to see if you haven't already seen it, you know, because they're still showing it today. And so I really
Yeah.
appreciate you, LaQuita. You know, thank you all for listening in, tuning in, you know, and definitely, man, look forward to the clothing line that's coming out. Look for the show that's going to be coming out in my next book, you know, and LaQuita is the only one going to publish it. So I don't
Thank you.
trust nobody else, you know, thank God, you
Thank
know, because
you.
of her great work. And you know, continue to reach out to my sister LaQuita, man. You know, she's an awesome publisher, man. I'm telling you all, she's awesome, man. She get things done. See,
Thank
that's the
you.
whole thing. You get stuff done.
Thank
That's
you.
what we got into it about. And I didn't think she was gonna do it, but man, she right. In 2 weeks, it was finished.
Now
Not saying y'all,
I can't do yours in 2 weeks now. So if you're
yeah,
listening and you're expecting a 2 week turnaround, it's not gonna happen. It's
exactly,
not gonna happen.
man.
It
But
is
I
not
have to
gonna
hug her
happen.
neck every time I see her, cause I'm like, thank you, God. And I sold a lot of books on Amazon and myself, you know. So
Yes.
go
Listen,
out
and
and
let
get the
me
book.
listen. I know we're out of time, but let me tell you guys something about this bestseller. It is okay to be a bestseller, but when you say this man is a bestseller, he is a bestseller. He has sold books. It is possible to sell your books, get your story out, write your story, and you have to do the work. He does the work. He is a
Hmm.
hustler, baby. He does the
Yes.
work. So do the work. But you know what? Our time is up, and I want to thank you again, Willie. Thank you,
Hmm.
listeners. We will be back next week, same bat time, same bat station. But it's been a plump, pleasing pleasure, Willie. Better than a
Thank you.
triple decker peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
You
That's my
know,
story, and I'm
ooh,
sticking to it. And until next time, be good. There is power in your story. Reach out to me, payprovpublishing.com. And listen, support the show. If you guys want to support what we're doing here on the power of your story, you can cash app. You can be a sponsor. You can do a donation. My cash app is the $ AF, the number 2C. And
hmm.
with that being said, goodbye, y'all. We'll see you next time.
Goodbye and good night. Love you all. Thank you all.